Hello, football fans. First things first, I'm going to get this out of the way. Congratulations go out to the Calgary Stampeders. They did it. They won the Grey Cup last night, beating the Ottawa Red Blacks 27-16. That game was a rematch of the 2016 championship, which actually saw Ottawa, the newest team on the block, win in overtime, 39 to 33. And of course, Calgary had been kind of labeled as choke artists because they were the Grey Cup game the last 2 years. They had the best record lead both times, but they would lose that game. They lost to Ottawa 2 years ago and Toronto last year. But the Stampeders, they did it. They held on. They scored first and never looked back. They led the whole game. So congrats to them. This is their second. This is their second Grey Cup championship in 5 seasons. And the second one since I started watching Canadian football in 2013. So who knows what could be next for the Stampeders next year. So again, congrats to Calgary. And on to the NFL. Oh boy, I'm glad one team is going right. I'm glad that there's everything's going right with one team because regarding my poor Packers, we are in deep trouble. And as usual, it's because Aaron Rodgers is literally the only player doing anything right. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback in the last 30 years, but he has no defense, he has no offensive line, he has no running game, and most of all, he has no coach. Just a fat idiot. Just a fat idiot who would get brain damage if someone kicked him in the ass. You know, we really should have beaten the dog shit out of Minnesota. For one, it's Minnesota. They're a catastrophe waiting to happen. And for another, because we had the motivation. We really had the motivation. But no one else other than Rodgers was doing anything. And McCarthy was just calling the same stupid plays that got us in this mess. So so and people were saying, well, McCarthy has let's see, because we've played 11 games. McCarthy has 5 games left in his coaching career. That's not fast enough. He needs to be fired like last week. And but on to some. And speed of crazy dumb things that happened. Ben, what the fuck were you thinking? How could you throw that ball knowing that James Conner had a big crater in front of him that he could just easily walk through? That was the game. That was the game. That was your winning streak, and you literally threw it away. Pittsburgh needed that win because Kansas City was off, and they were on a roll ahead of New England. And thanks to that loss, and now Houston won their eighth in a row on Monday night. Now Pittsburgh is actually fourth. They're in the bottom of the division leaders because I almost said Calgary. I'm kind of stuck in the Canadian football. Kansas City is number one at 9-2, and now New England and um, Houston are ahead of them at 8-3. Pittsburgh is 7-3-1. They still have a stranglehold on the North Division. That's pretty much over. Speaking of the North, how about Cleveland? How about the Browns, huh? So you're telling me anything is possible. The Cleveland Browns won back-to-back games for the first time in 4 years. They went to Cincinnati and beat them down, and and they embarrassed the Bengals even more than they already are, because for one, they hired Hugh Jackson as the defensive coordinator. Gee, that worked out well. Greg Williams, the new head coach of Cleveland, who was the interim head coach, he's 2-0 now. He is 2-0 since he took over. Now, how about that? So, what's to say what's next for Cleveland? Maybe they win a third game in a row. The playoffs are kind of out of the question, but maybe they finish with a pretty close to decent record. Hold on, I'm going to search for the schedule for this week. But I know this much. Week 13, yes, week 13, we're in the home stretch. We're almost in the month of December as far as the NFL season is concerned. And I know week 13 starts this Thursday, the last day. Well, I was about to say the last day of the month. That's actually not accurate or true. It's the next last day of the month, November 29th. Um, it will start with the Cowboys hosting the Saints. Now, the Cowboys made it to first place on Thanksgiving. By the way, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I certainly did. But yeah, the Cowboys beat Washington on Thanksgiving Day, and as a result of this, they are now in first place due to having a better divisional record. They split the season series, but have a better divisional record, so they're in first place. Now, will they stay there after this week? Who knows? They play the Saints, and the Saints are most likely going to run through them. But Washington plays the Eagles on Monday night, so that might be a wash. But however, if Dallas loses and the Eagles win, that's gonna make the NFC East really really interesting because I think it'll be a three-way tie at 6-6 if these things happen. But the Packers will. Thank God, the Packers are at home against the Cardinals. Even our defense can't fuck that up. I mean, it's the Cardinals. They're a charity case. The Rams were off, which is part of why I lost on fantasy this past week, but because I didn't have Gurley to start. But the Rams are in Detroit, looking to clinch the division. They can win. They can clinch the division with a win, and what's an easier win than Detroit? Seattle is back in the playoff race now because they beat Carolina. Well, Carolina beat themselves. So they're actually in the prime position to actually get in the playoffs somehow. But they still have Russell Wilson. So, as usual, Russell Wilson has a knack for turning gold into shit. Um, but as for Pittsburgh, they're the NBC game on Sunday night. They're hosting the LA Chargers, who blasted Arizona and are 8-3, one game behind Kansas City. Kansas City plays the Raiders, so that's a nice gift wrap victory. I mentioned the Seahawks. They host the Niners, another gift wrap victory. The Vikings are in Foxborough, where road teams go to die. So, and the oh boy, I'm looking at the schedule now. The Browns play the Texans, so their first winning streak in God knows how long is about to end. But still, back-to-back wins, that's something if you're a Cleveland fan. But yeah, and the Broncos, who've won back-to-back games, they played the Bengals. Could they win their third in a row? Could Denver actually be knocking on the door at a playoff spot? Only time will tell. And that's my brief review of not only the Grey Cup, but of Week 12. Um, I will recap Week 13 this time next week, and I will let my fellow football fans know what's happening, and who's officially in and who can get in heading into the final weeks. We're entering the month of December, folks. So fasten your proverbial seatbelts. It is going to be an insane home stretch. I just hope the Packers make it a little bit interesting. But until next week, and enjoy the rest of the season.